The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Young cast, last, now everybody go to breakfast.
Talking Heads with Naughty is brought to you by BTC, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, Dunkin' Donuts, Fine Threads, First Caribbean Bank, Island Wholesale, John's Department Store, Joker's Wild, J.S. Johnson, KFC, Naughty Johnny's, Percy's Island Games, and Tropical Gyros.
Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. The Wednesday, February 1st edition of Talking Heads is on and popping. February 1st, Mr. Producer, can we keep a stopwatch on February and see if February lasts a little longer than January did? Because, man, I blinked, I ate a plate of food, I burped, I farted, boom. January gone. January was not into 2023. Hopefully February will be a little more loving. Pump. But listen, today we got a great show lined up for you. All right, so let me let you know how to chime in. Okay, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Text line's powered by BTC, 422-GR96. That's 422-4796. Stream us live, take us wherever you want to go, GuardianTalkRadio.com. BTC Flow Channel 612, Cable Channel 969. So that's how you get it in. That's how you get it on. Okay? So, boom. Holler at your boy. Now, I got special guests today, like I told you. And big up to Andrew Knowles, man. That's his birthday today. My good homeboy, Andrew. Big Drewski. Happy birthday. Enjoy this and many, many more. And if you've been fishing today, I'll take a hog snapper because I know he's catching everything. Fresh. So big up to my good brethren, Andrew Knowles, on his birthday. Happy birthday. And Andrew, I hear your lovely wife, Gina, has promised you a birthday lap dance tonight. So please call me tomorrow and let me know if you cashed in on that coupon as well. All right? So, y'all, thanks for listening and have a great birthday. Now, got my special guest in studio, like I said, and no stranger to the show. Got Mr. Matt Aubrey from Org. And, of course, you know, Tate, no stranger to Guardian Radio.
Yes.
What's going on, Tate?
Everything good, man.
You're moonlighting. You're here during the weekend. You're here early.
Yes.
So I know you guys got big things popping with Org, and both of you have been on in separate occasions, you know, toward the end of last year and early this year. But you got the big MPO cluster training going on. Mm-hmm. And I saw that flyer go on last week. I instantly had to reach out. I said, listen, we got to talk about this because obviously it works well for folks that are, you know, trying to get into local government, trying to, you know, become politicized and not maybe in frontline politics, but just to better understand and what to vote for, what to agitate for. And I think this is some awesome sessions that you guys got here.
Yeah, the not-for-profit organization cluster training really was put together with that concept that working together, we're going to be stronger. And so when we think about how we tackle the different issues that are out there, whether it be environment or freedom of information or anti-corruption or, you know, gender equity or any of those things that we're struggling with right now, crime in our communities, pollution, all those things, one person or even one group has a limited amount of what they can do. We know that with the current economy, money is tight. You know, there's not as much flowing out there, so it makes sense that we find ways to work together. So not-for-profits, which are a legally driven organization that is come together for social good. Some of those names you would know: Hands for Hunger, Lend a Hand, Red Cross, BNT, Org, Rise Bahamas. These are groups that have put together a structure. They come together there 365, 24/7 to look at how they address those particular issues. And what we've all found is that we can all do a little bit in our own corner, but we haven't always brought together to say, how do we tackle this big thing together? And how do we then bring something forward that can either address what an issue is or work in complement with government or the private sector or media to really bring issues to not only just attention but to solution?
Yeah, that was something that Tania Waters and I talked about last time she was here with Ride. And I think there needs to be more unity and solidarity amongst the NPOs and the different organizations, because the power is in one sometimes when you're agitating. And, you know, your cause today, my cause tomorrow, Tate's cause next week. But we stay on the front line, and people know, okay, this is a body that's coming, and they're going to come correct, and they're going to bring the facts.
Well, and I think you have been one of those people that's given us platforms and given lots of organizations platforms. And when we start to better understand who's in the room and what are we doing, we can also be more effective. So the folks out listen on the audience, they may hear one group and one group and one group, but they don't understand that, in fact, they're all working on the same. So Rise Bahamas is working on local government. We're working on more issues of like anti-corruption and freedom of information. Lend a Hand is working on helping citizens to be able to develop their own skills to manage their own community. That may sound separate, but the truth is they're all somewhat related. And so if we as groups better understand what we're doing and understand how we can contribute to supporting each of our own issues, we're going to make it easier for those people in the community to get involved. We're going to be able to better articulate our issues and bring it forward to government. We're going to be able to make a message that people understand as really one message instead of 18 different things that you
They're saying the same
with.
thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Right.
And that's, I think the streamlining of information is important because we as Bahamians, we get distracted. We can start off a conversation on this topic, local government.
End up somewhere else.
Somebody else will drop one little nugget in there, and here we go down the rabbit hole, down the garden path, talking about pot cake this and pot cake that, and so how we get here?
Right.
Right.
And we miss the forest for the trees because we get caught up in a lot of these arguments that, okay, they're cut and dry. It's of a political persuasion. You're going to see it one way, other people are going to see it another way, undecided is going to see it another way. But when you look at the communities, the important ones that can actually get into the community and relate to government, you can get white papers going on how we better can help each other. Because, let's be real. Certain administrations, they like to show up for the photo op when it's all said and done. And that's the case, fine. But if we help in the community through the MPO circuit, then that's fine. But that empowers many people to join so that the MPOs get stronger and more messages get out there and we can tackle more issues, not just like Matt says, 5 organizations talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we could split up and say, okay, it's more related to your organizations. You focus on this, and we'll focus on this, and then we'll meet here in the middle. Because that's, I think, where the power comes from in 2023. Social media is a powerful tool if you use it correctly.
Right.
And networking is a powerful tool if you do it correctly. But I think the MPOs and the different organizations need to be more unified to bring that power.
Well, I think the awareness of what a not-for-profit is and what it does is also something we got to work on from our side, from the industry side.
If you listen to some of these chat groups, people are way lost on what MPOs really are.
Right. Everybody thinks, well, that's where I go to get a little handout, or that's a group of rich people that just get together and talk about big ideas. And the reality is, we've just done a study, and we've shown that not-for-profits are having a significant impact in our community. They're making sure that those people who are most vulnerable, those who are least likely to speak up, have a voice, a place to represent them. And what we've also seen is that when that voice is included in developing solutions, that law is going to be more successful. When you decide, hey, this is what the solution should be, but you haven't talked to those people who are most affected, things fall flat, and we've seen that on a regular basis. So these not-for-profits, they can be, just like you said, that community doorway. They can be that place that understands the needs of our communities, of our family islands, of our particular folks that are not represented, like people with disabilities, or our seniors, or our youth that are in communities that are kind of left behind. These groups are the ones that are down there in the dirt, boots on ground, making sure that those folks have the services and supports, and more importantly, that they have a voice.
And I think that's the most important thing is the platform to have that voice, because a lot of times people want to say stuff, but they look around and it's only them, they get intimidated. But if you have MPOs that are like-minded, then they can actually blend in and get into the system and become a part of that organization, a vibrant part.
Right. Our first experience when we started almost 8 years ago was working with 22 other organizations on freedom of information. And the great thing is that we were all complimentary, we were supportive, and we did something significant, and we brought forward ideas from the community. But when we didn't organize really properly, we didn't stay together. So we all went back to our corners, and we all did different things. And so 7 years later, without the bill being fully passed, think about the power. At that point, I think we estimated with our combined audience, it was about 50,000 folks that were involved. We need to better figure that out. So these sessions are designed for not-for-profit leaders to come together and learn different skills that help us to better get along and collaborate. We're talking about common values and missions. We're talking about setting forth a human rights perspective in what we do, a framework.
Yeah, can we just touch on that real quick, Matt? Because,
Sure.
And Tate, because I think a lot of people, immigration hot button topic these days.
Right.
Okay, very, very volatile. And you got a lot of suggestions going on. I am of the belief that if we're going to fix the problem, we have to have dialogue from all sides of the table. We have to bear in mind that we want Bahamians to benefit first and foremost from this, but we also want to be able to be in accordance with human rights laws as we move forward, because we're not a barbaric society.
Right.
And we got a lot of, for lack of a better word, loose cannons popping off with vigilante talks and xenophobic rants, and God forbid we end up like the DR
Right.
on the border. We don't want to see that. But at the end of the day, we do want solutions. So these are the kind of things that come to the table, that these are the vehicles that I think we need at the forefront now, because the conversation has to be had. But how do we get there?
Right.
Because we're really at a crossroads, Matt.
I think the formula is simple to say and harder to do, right? It's that we need organization amongst our own selves. We need some common goals, and we need some specific intention. Sometimes we only operate with what we know. So in my one area, I'm trying to do this thing, and people over in Grand Bahama are doing their own thing, and then there's a group that's over in Abaco. And so when we learn more about each other, I think that's part of it. But then also learning skills. So we a lot of times as groups and individuals, we don't do a lot of listening. We
Right.
don't do a lot of exploration. We have a short amount of time, a limited amount of funds, so we put it together, we put a program together, we put a policy campaign or something, we put it out there, and we haven't taken the time to check in with folks who actually could be side by side with us. And we're in our interest to try and go fast, because government responds that way, right? Government puts information out today, and the bill, it's going to be debated in a week, and so everybody's got to scramble around and try and figure out what they think. But the reality is, if we're better organized in instances when it's necessary, we're going to be able to better support each other and have advanced plans in place. And the most specific way we can think about that is in relationship to our dealing with disasters. So when a disaster happens, everybody steps forward. That first week in a disaster, it's amazing to see all the power of what is in the Bahamas. You got people who are somehow figuring out how the private pilots are getting there even before the government folks get in. We have folks in the community who are making sure to save lives, and all of these things that are going on. But we don't do it in a way where we're taking notes of how do we do this best next time? How do we learn from these circumstances and prepare ourselves? So in just the way that NEMA and now the Disaster Preparedness Authority are working on these plans, us not-for-profits, we need to do the same kind of planning. We need to figure out how we best use our resources to actually solve these problems, and instead of putting a Band-Aid on, really create a path towards healing and thriving.
I think that's a big part of it, healing, because it's volatile. Tate, I mean, what's your take on it? I see you nodding your head, and I listened to your show on Saturday, and you got some good callers.
So Saturday was a
Got some famous callers too, boy.
right. We had some famous callers, right? I mean, Saturday was a very interesting time. Lincoln being called in, of course, but I think this immigration issue is interesting, right? Because there needs to be talking about this, right? We should be talking about it, right? But I think the problem that we have, that certain narratives are kind of toxic, and so this issue has been plaguing our country for a very long time, back to the Haitian Revolution,
Right.
And what it has resulted in, because it's been so politicized and it's used to stoke the populace, right? It sort of invigorates Bahamian people, but it does so in this very hateful way, right?
Right.
And some people like to say that they are not trying to do this, but I think that's their end goal at the end of the day. But I think what needs to happen is that we need to have a conversation about things. You have to be honest about where this comes from, and it's quite a bit racist, right? It has racist undertones, right? And unfortunately, Bahamians have taken these ideas on, and so we need to be honest about that. But despite that, where people get this kind of attitudes from, it usually happens when we have times of being in a bad economy,
Right?
And when things are bad, you need a boogeyman, and it just happens to be that
And-
Haitians are always the boogeyman.
And
for that
there's
particular
buttons you could
conversation.
always push.
There's
There's going
buttons
to
you could
get a
always
reaction,
push, right?
And that's why. Go ahead.
And so, yes, the problem of immigration is an issue, but saying that it is the cause for many other things, it's a problem.
Right.
Because you could talk about housing, you could talk about prices, but Haitians are not the reason for that, or maybe so they're not the biggest contributing factor to that. You think about the Bahamas doesn't produce many things. Think about the population of New Providence being so much that the price of housing is going up. And then think about landlords, think about tenants. So it's many
There's
things. that we
layers
can
to
talk
the
about. There's
onion that we
layers
can
to
talk to
the
it. And see,
conversation.
that's why I think it's so important that org continue to do exercises like this and continue to agitate for the dialogue and getting people to come together, because we need to have a sensible conversation. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because cooler heads prevail. And if everybody's in the right form, in the right place, and network and used to working with each other, we can go through these things. Because I think at the end of the day, we have to have a Freedom of Information Act.
Right.
We have to be able to get to local government at some point. And we have to start putting in place, the support for organizations that can step in and be a buffer between the community and the government. Because a lot of people, the government should do this, but if there's no resources there, but there's NPOs that can fill the gap, then let's fill the gap.
And like they're similarly complex. So we work on a couple of different levels, right? You've heard us talking out about in the paper about different laws, and we talked about anti-corruption today in the media, and we'll talk about that. You hear us, putting out resources to help not-for-profits come together and get involved in these sessions. Which, if there's any not-for-profit leaders that are out there, they can check us out at Org Bahamas /Civil Society, and they register for these sessions. But we also work at the very grassroots level. So Tate and Stefan Evans are actually working on a program called Active Citizens Bahamas. And it helps just what you're saying, Nadia, is to build those skills of being an active and responsible participant in this process. The challenge is so many folks have kind of believed or come to believe, and you can totally understand why, that my voice ain't gonna matter. That whatever I do or say, government's going to make its decisions based on whatever decision it wants to. Maybe it's party, maybe it's personality, maybe it's what serves the government. But are they really going to hear me and my interest in my community? So we're going out there to have that conversation with folks about not only what can be possible if you start to get involved, and what small things you might do in your own area and your own community that can lead into almost like building the muscles of participation up. But then also having the dialogue to learn what are the challenges that people are having, so we can understand that and better design systems and supports that can help people build and really take control of their own lives. Because it's a very scary place to feel like you're in a space where you can't do anything about your existence. Nothing's working for you, and how do I get out of it? And we want to help people be able to change that direction.
Yeah, if I can make a point. And thinking back to the COI, it's like, I get it, you're angry about an issue, right? And this is the point of particularly Active Citizens Bahamas. We need people to be more active, and we need people to participate. But it's unfortunate that they participate around certain ideas, right? So we're not saying to not get out there and don't say anything about it. That's fine. But you have to be really careful about which narratives or which ideas or stories that you support. So I think this is also the importance of this project as well. We want people to get involved. We want people to have a greater say. And I think sometimes Bahamians sort of turn to these avenues because they felt as though in many cases trying to get the parliament or trying to access a certain levels of power in the country, it's not quite accessible in many ways. And so they turn to very skewed ways to gain power. But in a sense, these sessions are used to basically help people to understand which ways that they can advocate for certain causes. And I think this is also the importance of the civil society capacity building that ORG does, because Parliament is not the only avenue to power. Parliament is not the only avenue to politics, right? Politics is this very broad idea. And simple as starting a nonprofit organization or starting a community organization or starting a movement are other avenues of making change in your community. So I think this is also the importance of the CSC building, capacity building as well.
Yeah, I think that, and I've mentioned this on the show several times. I've had a lot of callers call and I said, listen, you need to get into local government. You need to get into community organization and activism because you're in the community. You know what's going on. You make valid, excellent talking points when you go, because you've experienced from both sides of the political divide, what you've been promised, what has failed to come through, what has come through,
right.
what states you're in right now. And sometimes it only takes one person in the community to be the voice. They could rally that whole community behind them simply because the community's looking for the voice. So I think this is a great opportunity for those folks that are interested to get out and become that voice. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing to talk for your community. It's not a bad thing to call wrong where wrong is. It's not bad to suggest, positive avenues for change, to present white papers to the government.
I think that's the other thing too, is making the energy of your frustration purposeful, right? So we've all experienced it. You know, I was because of circumstances downtown, I was stuck in traffic 3 times waiting, and how are these things going to be managed? Think about just traffic management or the potholes I got to avoid on the way to drive those things. These things are quite frustrating. There are situations that have not been fixed. They're just as complex. But going to social media and just chatting on a chat to express and share these bits of information, it may not really move this issue forward, right? It may be you may have a place where you're putting your thoughts or your ideas or your anger, but there are also mechanisms that can collectively use that frustration and use those ideas to push something forward in a very specific way. So when people, we see people and they say, "Hey, org's doing great stuff," but you know what? They're not going to let it change. That's what they say. They, the big they. And the reality is, it's not up to them to let it change. If political will is going to be supported by the public will. So if enough folks come and start to tell people in their constituent offices, hey man, I want to prioritize this. I want to make sure that NIB is going to be there for me and my kids. I want to make sure that the hospitals are places I can come and when I need help, they're available. I want to make sure that I can drive the road without having to blow my tire and blow 2 weeks' pay on trying to get back on the road. Right. Like these are real things, and if enough people say the same things to those people, those individuals, they're going to. That the mechanism of representation should be informed representation, not assumed representation.
And I think that's the key, to get the information out there properly, where people become familiarized with it and they can gravitate to where they want to support and where they want to, voice their opinions. Another thing that I think is important, in the States, you're familiar with it. You have blocks, and I think the Bahamas need to get into blocks where you got blocks of electricians,
right,
blocks of plumbers, blocks of engineers, blocks of lawyers, blocks of entertainers. So when politicians come to you, you can say, "Now we represent 1,500 masons,
right?
Stone masons and skilled masons, and each of us have X amount of votes, and we represent, it's 1,200 of us. We represent 3,000 votes. This is what we need." I think that cuts out a lot of the middleman, and you get to get a dialogue. And obviously, if you're a group and you're a body, politicians need to come correct, because they're not just talking to one person. They'll have the group of 1,200 with the potential of 3,000 votes for them. They don't want to lose that fish.
We I think that sums up better than anything we've said so far about why these MPO training sessions are necessary. So we're learning as groups, how do we get along? Like when the international NGOs come in, they have what they call clusters. And these clusters are groupings of folks that they work on food security or on sanitation or on rescue or on waste management or whatever it might be that they need to address. And when they come in, they have a very clearly outlined structure of how they communicate, who's going to do what, how they report and manage and monitor all that stuff. Well, we don't need to wait for somebody to come in and drop that on us in the middle of a disaster. We can be better prepared for anything if we talk about it and build it locally amongst our groups. And just to that point, if you have a group that say, we're going to tackle this issue of, say, early childhood development, making sure our kids get every opportunity through reading and nutrition and support and health and the right kind of testing and the right kind of medications and all whatever that is, and they come together and they say, hey, we're going to deal with this, and all of a sudden you've got 10 groups that are out there, 10 groups that are representing 300 people each. Well, all of a sudden we've got a significant amount of folks that are coming forward and talking either to government or talking to private sector and say, hey, you need to invest, these corporations in the community, you need to invest so we make sure all of our kids get a chance to learn how to read, get a chance to make sure that they have the right nutrition, that we understand what that, and the kind of impact that something like that can happen. All of a sudden we start seeing less money that we're spending on Fox Hill. We spend less money we're spending on people who are going in emergencies to PMH, less money in terms of
and I'll be honest
danger.
with you, I first got inspired by the whole block theory talking to my good friend John Bostwick, because it came up. That's John's, another one of his great ideas, but I think it's something that we need to really bounce on. We really need to follow through on. And I think, like you said, there's a great platform to get people where they need to be.
And locally, not-for-profits are and can be that, right? We have a contractors association. That's a not-for-profit organization. Chamber of Commerce is a not-for-profit organization. We see the Retailer Federation. That's a not-for-profit organization. Just the same way that we see Creative Nassau and or the Dundas Center. These are people who are out there establishing how do we keep and manage and push forward the Bahamian culture. They are organized in order to do that effort. And it's hard work. And none of those folks are got into it for the money. They're all,
No,
they're all committing lots of
for the
sacrifice.
culture.
Right.
And that's the good thing about it. But we got to get to the first break. Let's get to the break. We'll wrap things up with Matt and Tate from ORG on the flip side and get you ready for the 5 o'clock hour. But this is the Wednesday, February 1st edition of Talking Heads. All right? And keep it right where you got it. It'll continue right after this.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Juicy fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a hot buttery biscuit for only $5. That's genius! Part of the KFC Genius menu, the KFC $5 snack box delivers on flavor and value. Need to feed more than one? KFC's Great Picks has got you covered. Packed with 4 thighs and 4 legs, fried to golden perfection, plus 4 buttery biscuits for only $20. More genius! Hungry for deals? The Genius Menu at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
John's January sale has begun, and you don't want to miss out on one of the greatest savings events of the year. 25% off shoes, bags, accessories, and clothing in either of our John's shoe stores or John's fast fashion clothing store. 10% off Timberland brand products, 15% off Sperry footwear, and don't forget our nursing and hospitality is also 25% off everything. Whatever your footwear needs, come into John's. Palmdale or Carmichael Road. January 24th through 31st to start the new year off right. John's, we put fashion at your feet.
Refined style with elegant taste. The fine threads is your place. If you want those slacks hemmed or just taking the waist, then fine threads is your place. If you wanna look suave and debonair everywhere you go, like you're supposed to be in a video, wanna step out and look great, then fine threads is your place. Refined style with elegant taste, then fine threads is your place. Is your place. Is your place.
Flavor alert! The Dunkin' Maple Sugar Bacon Breakfast Sandwich is the perfect blend of maple and smoked bacon in every bite. Enjoy a fluffy egg, melted Swiss cheese, and sweet caramelized maple sugar smoked bacon, all stacked on a warm, flaky croissant. Make it a combo with lightly seasoned hash browns and your favorite freshly brewed Dunkin' coffee. Tap into maple flavor today at Dunkin'. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Young cast, last. Now everybody go to breakfast. Choco.
Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. The Wednesday, February 1st edition continues right now. I got a couple of texts for you, real quick, a couple of questions. Naughty, your guest is making a lot of good points, but in order for change to happen, one should not be passive. Ask your guest if the idea of spearheading a class action lawsuit against the government, a good lawsuit would be the destruction of one's car because of poor roads. Potholes,
Potholes are a real thing.
Well, we can't come together on immigration, but by God, we'll come together on potholes.
You could have some clear solidarity.
I lost a tire last year sometime.
Wait,
Yeah,
I
me too,
lost
yes,
two.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
On one stinking hole in the West, boy. And listen here, we leave that.
There was one that somebody just put some sand in because they couldn't tolerate it. Once, of course, that ran out, and so it was me and one guy right after, boom, boom, and just you could see it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the folks that put like the palm tree limb or the coconut tree limb
Right.
or you know the cone in there so I
Right.
could see it. But I misses the cannonballs back in the day. People used to make fun of them, but guess what? You used to light the cannonballs. I call them cannonballs. They used to burn all night. You could see them.
Yeah.
You got to avoid it.
So the reality, though, is like that's it. And understanding what are the mechanisms that you can start to get resolution, and in some places, particularly in the states, class action have been major step forwards. A lot of my professional experience in my youth was working with folks with disabilities in the states, and folks with developmental disabilities didn't get their due until they took a class action suit, and that class action suit changed a lot of things. Here in the Bahamas, our legal system is not oriented as well, and it's not easy to manage. And the reality is, if you take on the government, there's a financial restriction that not box out following that kind of a suit. But there are groups that looked in that space. I mean, our friends at Human Rights Bahamas have used the legal system effectively, particularly in human rights levels. So I think, again, anything can potentially be valuable as long as it's organized and you understand what step that might be. So taking to the streets and protesting on one day rarely is going to change circumstances. Even when we see our brothers and sisters in the labor unions and they have those days that some all get sick, those are clearly organized. Those are set up in concert with lots of different actions and things that have preceded them. So if a step towards a class action suit to resolve a particular issue is put forward, it's got to have steps that precede it and steps that go forward. So I think that's it. It is important just to note that org, as we are set forward, we're not the watchdog group. We're not driven by lawyers. we're a not-for-profit Bahamian organization that is trying to focus on long-term solutions. So we try not to get called in too much into the issue of the day, but mobilize both citizens, private sector, government, media, academia, all churches, all together, so that we can create these solutions and advocate for their that kind of ownership. Those solutions, they actually stick and they stay. And that's what we can't tolerate. Like we did one thing in one administration and then another thing in another administration, and none of those then start to meet their goal. Our long-term issues we're facing are things like education and our economy and making sure our health and safety in our communities is taken care of. That is not a 5-year problem. That is something we've got to work in collectively to make sure we solve it and leave it solved and leave a better world for our kids.
All right, I got another one for you here, Matt. Great show, Naughty. Ask your guest in all honesty. Ask Matt in all honesty. Does he think that we'll ever get the Freedom of Information Act done? It's been 7 years. Do you think it'll ever come to fruition with any kind of substance?
This is my most frequently asked question. In all honesty, sir, yes. Yes, I do believe. We've seen movement. We've seen change. It's happening quite slowly. I don't think this has been the priority of either administration, but this is where the power of citizens can make a difference. There is a Freedom of Information Commissioner, a Deputy Commissioner. They have started to do training in the communities. But we did get a promise about 12 months ago that by this time there would be 10 agencies that could receive requests for freedom of information and would be able to respond. That has lots of reasons why, but if we all, again, speak to those people that you put in place to represent you and said, this has got to happen, that's the kind of pressure that can make it move faster. So we talk about it regularly. You can check us out. We talk about it. Check us out on our social media, or when the media asks us, we have a lot of articles on it. We have information we put forward. So check us out at Org Bahamas Foundation or our website at orgbahamas.com. But it requires more than just one organization. It requires a public push to make sure that the political will changes.
And then I have this other one. Naughty, please ask the guest. Org has a lot to say on a lot of topics, but I noticed they were kind of silent on Bermuda Gate. And if they're so for, responsible government, what's their take on that? Because that didn't seem too transparent or accountable.
We did speak about that at the time. The way that we tend to address things, just so people are clear, is not so much in the immediate of the day, because I think some of those things are obvious. Where we talk about things is when we start to see trends. And so when you see issues that spending is not supposed to be appropriately done or legally done, and all of a sudden after the fact things change, then an issue with people's access to information. So passage of freedom of information. And what we see with freedom of information is not only does it give citizens the right to get information when they need information on government spending or government decision making, so that you can get clarity on when did this thing come out and how was this decided and who made the decision that was going to go for this, all of that stuff. But it also, just having a passed and enacted freedom of information, it does, we see across the world, it does make governments more effective, more efficient, more transparent, more accountable, just knowing that question could be out there. So we spoke about it in context of that. But most recently, we've kind of talked about, and we're talking about this issue of seeing that government doesn't seem to, and this isn't just this administration, it's past administrations, but how do governments make decisions related to whether they can follow the mandate of a law, like public procurement, where they're supposed to be publishing the names of who's won the government contract awards, or the schedule of when they're supposed to present the fiscal strategy report, which we're glad to hear came out today.
Thank God, but
right?
how late?
Right, but that's 2 years coming late, right? This is the second time. Or public disclosures, where we're not sure if people have given those disclosures or the time.
Because as per the law, if you don't, there is a penalty.
Right. And that, again, that public disclosures issue, that's not just to one administration. That's happened, periodically. So we need to get to a place where people understand that the expectation of governments being transparent and being accountable, it is the right thing to do. But more importantly, it has benefits. If we have a fair and inclusive procurement law, that means more folks, more Bahamians, more people in the Family Islands, more women-based businesses, more youth-based businesses are going to have opportunities to grow and flourish, because contracts will be made widely available, and the criteria for choosing those contracts will be fair and transparent and open. And that there'll be a mechanism that if you feel it wasn't fair and transparent and open, you can go and put that forward and get that clarified. So this changes a lot of people's potential lifestyle. You have one job and a little side gig, but that side gig can now become a big supplement, or the way you spend your time getting out of just having a day-to-day job, because you can grow it into a viable business. It starts as law, but it really has an impact in your particular life. So when we talk about things, not to brush over the comment, we want to talk about them in ways that we can create things. Mingling of political agenda and our day-to-day operations of government is something we all should be conscious of, because it means that the interests of the people are being put as second to something else.
So this one should be pretty good. The next session scheduled is on the 13th of February, correct?
Yeah,
and that's promotion of human rights and collaboration of values mission.
Right, and then we're going to be talking about developing objectives on the 28th. We're going to have a session for group dynamics and leadership, how we kind of work on co-leading efforts. Everybody's got an ego, so how do you put that in check and make sure that you contribute to a common goal? Collaboration and resource sharing. This one I bet will be most popular, because we're going to talk about skills of fundraising. We're going to get some of the local funders to get together and share their perspectives on what they what they want to hear and see, so that they can make sure their funding achieves the objectives of the country and their source, whether it be a corporation or a foundation. Financial management and reporting, which is really important. What we see is the critical need is understanding how monies are used and how those monies are used most effectively. It doesn't just apply to governments. It applies to those not-for-profits. That builds trust. That makes sure that funders come back and give monitoring and evaluation. We're going to talk about in May. And that's always critical to know what your impact is of your efforts. And then finally, we're going to talk about the topics of advocacy. And our good friend, Shantez Dillett-Wilson, is going to be talking about communications on that day. So there's a lot of resources for not-for-profits to gain. And more importantly, this isn't a scenario where we're going to just be dictating and saying, hey, folks, just learn this. This is a dialogue about how can we envision our organizations working closer together, more organized, and being more effective at what we do. The sessions will be both here, and we're going to have a couple in Grand Bahama. That just stay tuned, and we'll tell you when that is. But we had our first session yesterday, and it was really powerful. We had 13 folks representing different organizations together in person. We had a whole host of folks who were online, some from the Family Islands, and the discussions were quite significant about the challenges we face, but more importantly, the opportunities that these organizations and the communities they're in can actually start to move forward when they share resources, when they collaborate, when they understand each other better.
And you can sign up for all of these sessions simply, or apply for the sessions simply by logging on to org/Baham/Civil Society, correct?
Yes.
So that's real easy. orgbahamas.com/Civil Society if you want to be a part of this, so you can apply.
We're very excited about what this is going to come from. What's going to come from this, rather. And the truth is, this is a shared dialogue. We need to create a kind of for us, by us solution so that when things do get bad, when we have disasters, hurricanes, other things that happen that we don't expect, we're ready, we're prepared, and we can now come out of these a little stronger.
And real quick, this last text, you guys have a list again. Texter, Matt mentioned it earlier, but if you are just tuning in, org does have a list of all the NPOs in the country, correct?
Well, so we have a list we're working on right now. What we did have a list of over 1,400 not-for-profits. We were able to get a list from the AG's office about a year ago that was reflective of 2020. That list has over 1,000 not-for-profits right now. Some of those we're still getting the contact information on, and we're going to be working to make sure that we have a publicly available list so folks can get involved and understand who's doing what, where
Well,
they're
I
doing
think that's
it,
what this
and how
text
they're
was
available.
involved. I think they
Right.
want to get involved with some NPOs, but they want
Right.
to find out which one specifically, suits their
Right. So
interest.
part of these cluster trainings is also us to learn a little bit more about ourselves. So we do have that list. We're working with the Registrar General to try and get them more currently available as we can. These organizations, a lot of those groups are out there in the communities, and we may not know about them, but they're doing good work. So we want to make sure that folks know about it so they can participate.
All right, I'm going to thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate you. I'll see you in March, so we can talk about March 8th.
That would be great.
And be sure to check out Tate every Saturday, right?
Yes, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Eye-opener, right?
Eye-opener, yes.
I catch you on the baseball, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, and boy, I tell you, boy, certain people call you because they know they can't call you doing to me. Boy, I tell you that much.
That's right.
So tune in for that extra special something on Saturdays.
All right,
but
thanks
I
so much.
appreciate you all, man, and we'll see you again in March, all right? And keep doing what you're doing because I think the most important thing is getting the information out there and then, getting us all caught up on how to break it down, better apply it to how we need to make this country a better place. So definitely continue doing what you're doing. And mi casa es tu casa. I got a platform here, brother.
Thanks so much, sir.
All right, let's get to the break, Mr. Producer. And right out of the break, we'll get to the news. We'll be talking sports in the 5 o'clock hour, so keep it right where you got it. The Wednesday, February 1st edition of Talking Heads continues right after this.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere. For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Play with Island Games, we making dreams come true. Play with Island Games, we paying more out to you. Don't mind the noise in the market, you get cash in your pocket. 'Cause Island Games is spicy, and spicy is tradition. So when you play Island Games, we putting Bahamians first, guaranteed to pay. Island Games, we like them other jokers. We've been here from the start, from the bike to computer. Island Games, we gonna make your dreams come true. We playing with Island Games.
J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protected since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You'll always cover me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Juicy fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a hot buttery biscuit for only $5. Genius Menu, the KFC $5 snack box delivers on flavor and value. Need to feed more than one? KFC's Great Picks has got you covered. Packed with 4 thighs and 4 legs, fried to golden perfection, plus 4 buttery biscuits for only $20. More genius. Hungry for deals? The Genius Menu at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
It's a new year, and you're super excited to start the year off right. You've made your New Year's resolutions, doing more exercising, healthier eating, saving more, making better decisions and all that. If you have information or products that encourages healthy living, promotes sound financial decisions, or even promotes a positive lifestyle, one smart decision is to advertise in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement. So if you're a physician, speech, massage, or physiotherapist, own a gym, nutritional deli, or restaurant, does your financial, insurance institution, or credit institution have the plan for investing wisely? Then that information should be in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement. One low price gives you an ad in the supplement plus 15 30-second commercials. Interviews also available on Star 106 Hits, Guardian Radio, and Hot 91. Contact your account executives or the Nassau Guardian now. Start the new year right in the Nassau Guardian's Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise supplement.
Naughty Johnny's restaurant can only be described as the experience you want to recreate again and again and again. Their motto is simple food done well. You're welcome into their home at Naughty Johnny's, where you can dine on crack conch fritters, and other Bahamian favorites. There's also an international flair that's guaranteed to offer something for everyone. Enjoy a good meal and listen to a live band on their patio Friday and Saturday nights, or brunch on Saturday and Sunday, only at Naughty Johnny's restaurant in the Old Town Plaza, Old Fort. They're open 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. Naughty Johnny's. Well worth the trip.
Fidelity, we're good for you. With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
John Shoes and Accessories is your one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. Whatever the occasion, John's is confident you will find what you're looking for among our always growing collection of amazing and trendy styles. We cover women, men, children, the whole family. Together with John's great prices and helpful and friendly customer service, your experience in shopping with us will be time well spent. Too busy to come in store? Shop with us online. www.johnshoes.com. John's also now carries small home appliances. So come on in today at John's, where we put fashion at your feet.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Young cast, last. Now everybody go to breakfast.
Choco.
The Wednesday, February 1st edition continues right now. We're into the 5 o'clock hour. 5:10 p.m. is the time. And you know we talk sports in the 5 o'clock hour. Yes, we do. And we got lots of sports to talk today. Mr. Producer, look out for Pearlie. He should be zooming in shortly. If he's not zoomed in already. He might be at the fryer. I saw Pearlie today, boy. Han bag full of groceries. You know the fryer getting beat bad. Bad, the air, woo, the air getting do in. So we wait for Pearlie to zoom in, but while we wait on Pearlie, we're going to get up into Today in Sports History. All brought to you, of course, by Naughty Johnny's. Well-weather trip out there to the Old Fort Shopping Plaza Monday through Friday. Great for lunch and dinner. Then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, great for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast starting at 9 a.m. And don't forget the happy hour every Wednesday, every Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. out there at Naughty Johnny's. Great highballs, great cocktails, and great specials, food specials. So be sure to check them out. Give them a call, 377-7776. All right, here we go. On this day, February 1st, in sports history, 1913, Jim Thorpe signed a contract to play baseball with the New York Giants. 1929, weightlifter Charles Rigolet of France achieved the first 400-pound clean and jerk as he lifted 402.5 pounds. 1962, the National League released its first 162-game schedule. 1968, Vince Lombardi resigned as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. 1970, Terry Sawchuk got the last shutout of his career and set a career record at 103. That's a lot of shutouts, man. Barry Bonds signed the highest single-season contract. It was for $4.7 million. That was in 1992. Look how the numbers have changed now. 1992, Dennis Potvin's number 5 became the first number to be retired by the New York Islanders. 1995, John Stark, career assist leader, when he scored his 9,922nd assist to move past Irvin Magic Johnson. 2015, Tom Brady of the New England Patriots set a Super Bowl record with 37 completions. Brady also increased his career Super Bowl touchdown passes to 13, setting a new record. And I guess you could add on this day, in 2023, Tom Brady retired from the NFL, finally. Says he's not coming back. And just remember the team who sent him into that retirement. How about them Cowboys? All right, sports quote of the day. It's not the winter that bothers me, it's the summers. Walt Alston. All right. That's a wrap on the local sports scene. That's a wrap on Today in Sports History, all brought to you, of course, by Naughty Johnny's. Let's get into the home court, the local sports roundup, all brought to you, of course, by Burger King Nassau. And it's all about that plant-based Whopper. Be sure to check that out today. Everything that you love about the Whopper, just plant-based, all right? It's waiting for you at your favorite Burger King location. Get it by itself or get it as a combo for takeout, drive-thru, or delivery with the Craven app. All right. Let me check out some of these texts. Boy, there's a lot of texts, buddy. Naughty Go Lakers. LeBron is 89 points away. Where would you rank him when he becomes the all-time leader? What up, Middleton? Boy, I tell you, it's an accomplishment, to get to that scoring. No. You sending me this list? Well, you have to look at the body of work. And I think if you're going to determine it, you have to take in the individual statistics as well as the championships. So if he passes Kareem, you're now asking, is he better than Jordan, Chamberlain, Magic, Kobe, etc.? It's debatable. But even if he passes Kareem, does he really pass Kareem? He might have the scoring records, but is he gonna pass Kareem in everything that Kareem's accomplished? High school, college, pro, with all the stats to go along with? It's debatable. It's a good debate. It's one we'll probably have on this show post Super Bowl when we get to the dead time in sports and there's only basketball on. So yeah, but good stuff, Middleton. Good debate. It is a very good debate. We got Pearly yet? All right, keep an eye out for the Pearl. I'm going in on the local sports scene. DeAndre Ayton has returns, and he helps lift the Suns over the Raptors. He's now averaging a double-double during the season. A story by Simba French. Check it out in today's Guardian. But the Suns, like I said, out of that contention for the 8th seed, but I think they had injuries that had them handcuffed. I think they're going to make a run. And I think they'll be in contention come playoff time. But like Simba reported, Bahamian professional basketball player DeAndre Ayton notched his second double-double in his third game back from an illness that kept him out for 3 games. He was instrumental in helping the Phoenix Suns take down the Toronto Raptors 114-106 on Monday night. And it was the Suns' 6th win in 7 tries after a tough stretch of losses. So there you go. They're starting that rebound already. They're starting that turnaround. Keep an eye out on that. Okay. Swimmers go under Carifta qualifying times. Local swimmers were in action for the first time in the calendar year on Saturday and made Carifta cuts at the first Burt Bell Memorial Meet at the Betty Kelly Kenning National Aquatic Center. Freeport Aquatics was the host club. The Barracuda Swim Club 11 and 12 girls category made the cuts in 5 of her 6 individual races. She also won the High Point Award for the category with 52 points. Good stuff. Good stuff. Had some other athletes do well as too. The Barracudas, David Singh, a competitor in the 11 and 12 boys category, had a strong outing on the way to winning the High Point Award in that division. He scored 59 points. Singh comfortably went under the Carifta mark of 3:05.91 in the 200-meter breaststroke with a time of 2:56.31. He finished ahead of Black Marlin Swim Club's Alexander Murray, who swam 3:18.82. So there you go. Got some good performance. Media accreditation portal for Carifta set to open. The local organizing committee of the Carifta Games Bahamas 2023 LOC is set and ready to host an exciting championships April 8th through the 10th. The event is expected to be highly viewed globally, and the LOC is inviting local and international media partners on board to lend coverage. So it's going to be big. It's going to be impressive. Let's have a look. See where it ends up and how it ends up. And that's pretty much it. Locally, you got baseball getting ready to get back into the swing, high school. So we'll keep you updated as soon as those results come in. All right, 5:16 p.m. is the time. No Pearly sighting? What's going on with the Pearl today? I tell you, Pearly had them big bag of groceries. Man, Pearly done stuck. Pearly done caught by the fryer, by the air fry, chefing it up. So we'll put out an APB on Pearly. And let's get to the first break, Mr. Producer. And on the flip side of the break, we'll jump right back in. And, of course, we'll get into the who's in and who's out portion of the show, all brought to you, of course, by Tropical Gyros. Don't forget, I got my pro picks coming up toward the bottom of the hour, brought to you, of course, by The Island Game. And we'll continue the conversation on the flip side of the break because we got some international sports news to cover, some big stories. Tom Brady finally calls it quits officially. So we'll be talking about that for sure. We'll have a gander at that. News out of San Francisco. The 49ers expect Jimmy Garoppolo to leave. And Tua has cleared concussion protocol. Okay? And will Zeke return for the Cowboys in 2023? He said he doesn't. I'm thinking Jerry needs to tell him the exits are located at the front, the middle, and the rear of the cabin. Zeke, thanks for coming. See you later. Let's get to the break. We'll be chopping all of that up on the flip side of the break as the Wednesday, February 1st edition of Talking Heads continues right after this.
Flavor alert! The Dunkin' Maple Sugar Bacon Breakfast Sandwich is the perfect blend of maple and smoked bacon in every bite. Enjoy a fluffy egg, melted Swiss cheese, and sweet caramelized maple sugar smoked bacon, all stacked on a warm, flaky croissant. Make it a combo with lightly seasoned hash browns and your favorite freshly brewed Dunkin' coffee. Tap into maple flavor today at Dunkin'. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Play with Island Games, we making dreams come true. Play with Island Games, we paying more out to you. Don't mind the noise in the market, you getting cash in your pocket. 'Cause Island Games is spicy, and spicy is tradition. So when you play Island Games, we putting Bahamians first, guaranteed to pay. Island Games, we like them other jokers, we've been here from our Island Games. We gonna make your dreams come true. We playing with Island Games.
With fine style, with elegant taste, then Fine Threads is your place. If you want those slacks hemmed or just taking the waist, then Fine Threads is your place. If you wanna look suave and debonair everywhere you go, like you're supposed to be in a video, wanna step out and look great, then Fine Threads is your place. With fine style, with elegant taste, then Fine Threads is your place. Is your place. Is your place.
Flavor alert! The Dunkin' Maple Sugar Bacon Breakfast Sandwich is the perfect blend of maple and smoked bacon in every bite. Enjoy a fluffy egg, melted Swiss cheese, and sweet caramelized maple sugar smoked bacon, all stacked on a warm, flaky croissant. Make it a combo with lightly seasoned hash browns and your favorite freshly brewed Dunkin' coffee. Tap into maple flavor today at Dunkin'. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Want to be the MVP of the party for the big game this year? And win cash? Just take your favorite Frito-Lay chips, Cheetos, or Tostitos and salsa to the party, and you will be the MVP and have a chance to win cash. All you have to do is purchase any large Frito-Lay chips, Tostitos, salsa, or Cheetos from participating grocery stores. Put your info on your receipt, drop it in the box, and you're in with a chance to win. Check your grocery store for details. Final drawing is February 11th. Frito-Lay chips, distributed by Island Wholesale.
Young cars, last. Now everybody go to breakfast.
Choco.
Talking Heads, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. The Wednesday edition, the February 1st edition, continues right now. 5:22 p.m. is the time. And let me know if Pearly chimes in. Let me know if Pearly zooms in. All right? And I'll tell you, today, got a couple of things to talk about. And we'll get them out of the way. And then I want to talk about Tom Brady, his retirement. We got Rich Eisen taking us home today. All right, on the final 10 with a tribute, a little extended version today. But I think the greatest of all time when it comes to the quarterback position is Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowl trophies out of 10 trips to the Super Bowl, 7-3. I mean, he's won it in both leagues. I think his legacy is etched in stone for a while. I think it's going to be a long, long time before you see somebody make a run at Brady's record. And it's been a great record. But the news came out today, all over social media, and he announced it himself. All right? Announced it himself, cut to the chase, let everybody know. And if you look in the background, I'm wondering, was he at Albany? That looked mighty familiar. Anyway, we have it here. And like I said, we'll get to that. We'll get to Brady's announcement, and we'll get to that special segment with Rich Eisen on the take home. But before we get to that, we got a couple of things we need to cover going over this. All right? Before we get into that, news out of San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan doesn't see any scenario where Jimmy Garoppolo returns for the 49ers. You have no quarterback right now. None. Trey Lance coming back off major ankle injury, similar to that of Dak Prescott. Brock Purdy, your Cinderella story, torn ulnar ligament in the elbow, Tommy John surgery, done for an indefinite amount of time, on the shelf. So Garoppolo probably would have been a better scenario, knows the system, was winning with the team while he was in before he got hurt. But no, we don't want to see Jimmy back. Kyle Shanahan, he told reporters Wednesday that he doesn't see a scenario in which quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo returns to the team in 2023. Earlier Wednesday, Mike Silver of the San Francisco Chronicle reported that it's a slam dunk. The impending free agent will not be back. Garoppolo has been with the 49ers since 2017 when the Patriots traded him to the 49ers midseason. It appeared that Garoppolo would get traded last offseason when the 49ers anointed Trey Lance as the starting QB for 2022, but a deal never came to fruition. 31-year-old ended up back in the starting lineup, however, when Lance suffered a season-ending fibular fracture and ligament disruption on September 18th against the Seahawks. Now, Garoppolo completed 67.2% of his passes for 16 touchdowns with 4 interceptions, 2,437 yards, 7.9 on attempt in 11 games before he was sidelined with a fractured left foot suffered against the Miami Dolphins December 4th. Now, he shouldn't have a hard time finding a new team. All right, but apparently there are some suitors, i.e. the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts jumped to the top of the list. And the Raiders are interested in parting ways with Derek Carr, and a trade could be worked out there as well. Garoppolo for Carr. So we'll see. The Jets could also be in the mix. with his connection to the head coach and the offensive coordinator in New York, formerly of the 49ers, came from that Shanahan tree. So keep an eye. I think Jimmy G might end up better off than a lot of people thought just because of how things have played out, how they've panned out so far with quarterback injuries and some question marks looming over some of the big name QBs that could potentially be moving. Another Tua is part of the is that Pearly? Pearly, you chimed in, man. I thought you fell in the deep fryer, man.
No, actually, I'm on the road, so I'm sitting in my car talking to you. I ran out of time today.
I saw you was shopping today, but you had all the meat in them bags. I see all the meat there, Pearly. All the meat. I know the fryer full.
Not yet.
What we doing? Wings, pork chop, tenderloin. What we doing?
Ribs, little ribs.
All right, honey glazed. I know.
Stuff. No, I did stuffed breast of chicken with spinach and mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. It really was good.
Stop it. But listen, you can enjoy the final 15 today because Richie Eisen put a tribute together for Tom Brady, who officially hung it up. And we'll get to that in a second. But before we get to that, good news for you. The Dolphins have reported that Tua Tagovailoa has cleared the concussion protocol and is confident. Big word, they're confident in a 2023 return.
Yeah, he'll be ready for spring training.
37 days after suffering his second confirmed concussion of 2022, Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared by the NFL's concussion protocol. So I guess he could get back to working out now.
Yeah, no, not yet. They're going to take it easy. There's no rush. Need to be, he just need to take his slow time and be ready when time for football. Just do a little workout, keep body in shape, practice with some things he had to work on with the quarterback guru, and he'll be all right.
Does he get the contract or does he get the money or do they give him like a softer 1 or 2 year deal, like a prove it kind of deal?
No, he still has another year on his contract.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously now is the time you want to save money by, maybe getting that contract out of the way if you're going to keep him moving forward.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it develops.
Or this is his show me season right here.
It may be the show me season. There's no talk about his contract because the Dolphins have a lot of salary cap implications right now. So I don't see him being a priority right now because you got some other players we got to deal with, some players we got to get rid of. We're not going to sign Gesicki. We're going to lose Gesicki.
I think Gesicki's going to get another player's going to get paid because the team looking for a quality tight end.
Yeah,
that's your guy.
A quality catching tight end. He doesn't fit in the McDaniels system. He's not a good blocking tight end. He's a great catch. He's a tight end / wide receiver if you want to get that argument.
Correct.
But I think he'll be somewhere else. He won't be in LA in Miami. As long as he don't go to the stinking lousy Jets.
He might go to the stinking lousy Jets.
No, I don't think so.
Because the stinking lousy Jets need a tight end who can catch the ball and run routes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't see it. I mean, maybe the Jets will try to take him. That'll be something. You'll get boo one time a season.
Yeah, I'm hearing some. We talked about Garoppolo earlier. I'm hearing Garoppolo may be another one who might end up in New York.
Well, I'm hearing that. I'm hearing that a lot. What I'm hearing is he'll probably end up in New York. I'm hearing that he's definitely not coming back to San Francisco.
Yeah, and Shanahan kind of made that obvious too. He was quoted as saying he sees no scenario in which Garoppolo returns. So now.
You look at it, he only got to play because Trey Lance got hurt. And what Purdy did, you don't need it because the money he's going to need or want, it ain't worth it.
No. So you got to.
It ain't worth it.
It's going to be a very interesting offseason. A very, very interesting offseason.
Yes, yes.
I'm interested to see who ends up where and where ends up with who.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Most definitely. I'm keeping my eye on it. Just the same old offseason. I think there's going to be some surprises. There may even be some trades.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think right after the Super Bowl, we see some things happening. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be real interesting, particularly before the.
And I'm hearing two things, man. I'm hearing some good early offseason news for the Cowboys as far as free agents. Deron Payne.
I thought we was going to get to go 1 week, 1 day without you bringing up the Cowboys.
No, now listen, Purdy. You know me. When Cowboys lose, I just like you when the Dodgers lose. I bet you when the Dodgers lose, that game was over like 11 in the night by 12:01. you was back looking at who we could sign as free agents?
A long time ago. Right now, usually we done bring Thor. I trying to figure out if my boy Michael Vargas can be moved up, and then the outfielder. Man, I'm Bobby Miller. I'm excited.
Yeah, but I'm excited about the potential that the free agency, because I hear Jerry may spend. Jerry may open up the checkbook. We're looking at Deron Payne, the defensive tackle from Washington. That's our primary target right there. And he's a monster. He's a beast. All pro, 11.5 sacks, great against the run. So I'm looking at that. I like that. And then I've heard 2 cornerbacks come up on the radar. One, Patrick Peterson in free agency, and he still got some gas in the tank, played well for me.
Yeah.
And potential Jalen Ramsey trade. And Ramsey, if he's traded to the Cowboys, is willing to redo the contract. So it stretches out. So it's not a huge cap hit.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm thinking, okay, Dallas is going to go spend on that defensive side of the ball and let Quinn have his way and just put a absolute, Legion of Boom Part 2 out there again. And, by God, Dak, you better just get the 20 points we need every game to win, and let's just get out of there.
Boy, one thing but you, Naughty, you make Dallas sound so invincible every year, and then y'all just do the same foolishness every year.
Well, yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to keep the troops rallied, man, because I know it's coming, but I still got to keep them rallied.
You don't start like the boy who shout wolf.
But guess what? I could be right one time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you would be right. Hopefully, you would be right.
I've been there before 30 years ago. It could happen again. Two Irishmen could walk out of a bar. It could happen.
All right.
A politician could give an honest campaign promise. It could happen.
All right.
It could happen, Burley. It could happen. Okay?
All right.
All right. Well, anyway, it did happen today. Tom Brady retired. And I know, and I'm going to play this clip, and I want to get your sentiments after all these years. How you feel to see Tom go. I'm going to let you put it together.
CYC. That's all I got to say. CYC.
Carry a clipboard?
Yep.
All right. No problem. Let's hear from Tom as he carries his clipboard.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. Like, you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
You love me.
Hey. I think he's a little emotional there, he's about to cry. He's there. It was there.
I actually watched it. I watched the video on Twitter. He actually teared up. His eyes swelled up a little. Just a little.
I mean, it was no Mike Schmidt. Remember Mike Schmidt at his retirement?
Yeah. It was no Mike Schmidt. No, it was no Mike Schmidt.
Boy, Mike, boy, look here. But anyway, all right. First of all, do you think I'm thinking, I heard the sentiment in the voice, the little tears well up in the eyes. I think I think this is it. I want it to be it for Brady.
My nephew Carlisle said, until a team that got a chance to win in the Super Bowl and need a quarterback, call him.
Yeah, the 49ers.
Yeah.
The Raiders.
Oh boy.
But
time will tell.
I would like just to see it stay the way it is right now, because that means
I think he's gone. I don't think he will announce it. Say he's retiring for good.
That means that the last game he played, he was sent into retirement by who? How about them Cowboys? We'll be the answer to a trivia question forever and ever. Amen.
I'm so glad I in a car and in this, it can't get too thick in here, because they're blowing it all away right now.
We did something the Dolphins could hardly ever do, beat Brady.
Yeah.
But you know what? I believe you're going to have your moments, Purdy. I believe you have.
It's coming.
I believe you have your Larry Bird moment like I did. You know how much I hated Larry Bird. I couldn't stand Larry Bird. But oh boy, who's Larry's biggest fan post-retirement? Right here.
Yeah, maybe me. I'm a big Larry Bird fan.
Boy,
for
listen,
time.
I got into it in the barbershop the other day. I had to tell him Larry Bird, with the 3-point line where it is today, the soft defense, and the amount of zone they play, he would absolutely destroy them. I almost said the F-bomb just now. I said the Joker's word just now. He would destroy them.
Yeah, he would.
And the thing that pitching would do is he would mess with your mental too, because these young fellas ain't ready for Larry to say, you see that 3-point line over there by your bench? I could dribble down by your assistant coach, and I could turn back on and shoot a fadeaway 3 and make it from here right in your face. And then when he did it, it was to freak one of them young children out.
And and there's a kick white boy doing it, and he boy, yeah.
Listen,
but my Larry Bird of the NBA right now is Luka. Oh man, I like Luka.
Luka just remind me of Bird on steroids, but not in the bad way.
Danny Ainge, no. A Danny Ainge, Larry Bird child.
Yeah, if Danny Ainge and Larry Bird had a love child, it'd be Luka. For real.
Yes.
With a little bit of Dan Marley thrown in because he could dunk.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan Marley was an underrated two-guard in his time. Thunder Down was a bad boy,
If he was on the streets, I'd say something but Nourish, but I ain't gonna say nothing.
Huh?
If he was on the streets, I'd say something but Nourish, but I ain't gonna say nothing.
Dear God. Anyhow.
I'm really terrible today,
You
I really should not be on
I
this
tell
show
you,
today,
you need to go cook, man. You know what it is? It's deep down. You trying to keep up a stiff lip, but you side Brady going. You can cry today. You can.
That might be tears of joy.
I said you was gonna cry. I didn't say we could be what.
While I respected Tom Brady's game, I didn't like him. He do my Dolphins too bad, but I have no love for him or Belichick. None.
Agreed. I mean, you gotta go. But he going straight to the broadcast booth, man.
Not for the Super Bowl. I can deal with that later.
Yeah, but he ain't gonna be part of the Super Bowl coverage. But later on, he can be in the booth. Trust me when I tell you.
Well, that's no problem. I can live with that.
Oh God, I wonder who he got signed with.
Fox.
Yeah.
NBC might be there. NBC because we might get a little old over in NBC.
I don't know, man. But can you just imagine? Can you just?
No, I wouldn't mind him listening to him talking. That's fine. As long as he ain't playing, I good.
So can you imagine him and Romo together? Boy, that'd be good, boy. I ain't gonna lie. People kind of getting soured on Tony now, though. Some people starting to run hard with Tony, man.
Yeah, he getting a little cheeky-ish.
And Tony almost dropped the N-bomb the other day on the national broadcast. You saw that? He had 3.
No, I didn't. I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Boy, he come close, boy. He was like, he had 3 knickerbockers close to him. It was close, and he didn't say knickerbocker either. Naughty and Pearly, do you think they should let Buddy in the 3-point contest this lap? They need to. I think he should be. I think he's leading the league in 3-point percentage.
They should.
He's on fuego right now. They need to put him in there. Let him go.
But he didn't
win. Pearly, he won that competition before, boy. 3-point competition. I think Buddy won that before, boy.
Yeah.
Let me Google it, or you Google it. If you drive it,
go ahead. You talk.
All right. I'm thinking that Buddy's won the 3-point competition before. Let me see. I wonder. Yeah, he has. And he's never been able to defend it. That's right. He did win it.
He did?
He did win it. And I think he did it like 3 years ago when Kobe passed. That same year Kobe passed. Lord bless the dead. Buddy won it, and he's not been able to defend it since. So yeah, he needs to go back in it. They need to put him in it. Buddy needs to get a shot at doing that. Real talk. Now, Pearly.
He won it. Yeah, he did win it.
Let's look at the NBA games on tap because we got to get to the break because Rich Eisen.
He won it in 2020. He won it in 2020.
Right.
When he's with Sacramento.
Correct. And Rich Eisen is taking us home today with his Brady tribute. So buckle up, enjoy it out on the ride home because that should be candid. Rich Eisen brings it. So that should be a good, take home for you on the Final 10 today. All right, but we got to get there a little early because, Richie did a little bit extra for Tom today. So let's look at these games. On tap tonight in the NBA. And, of course, you can play and win with the Island Game Sportsbook. Simply log on to theislandgame.com. Check out the sportsbook. Check out all the options, all the way to play, all the way to win. And remember, the Island Game always reminds you to play responsibly. 7 p.m. games. Magic and the Sixers, Blazers and the Grizzlies, Nets and the Celtics, Thunder and the Rockets at 8 p.m., Warriors and the Timberwolves at 8, Kings and the Spurs at 8, Raptors and the Wizards and the Pistons has been postponed. But if I just look at
something in Dallas, some airport problem.
right, so I'm looking off the top of my head. I like the Sixers over the Magic, Grizzlies over the Blazers, Celtics over the Nets.
Okay.
Warriors over the Timberwolves, Kings over the Spurs. Them 5, bet it, set it, forget it, right there.
All right. And I'll do you one better. I'll take the Jazz over the Raptors.
I don't want to touch that.
I like that one.
All right. Well, I'm glad you like it. So, enjoy your cooking, man. I know you got some chefing up to do, so be safe on the road and enjoy your chefing. And we'll chop it up tomorrow. We'll get to the break now. And then, of course, taking us home, Rich Eisen, with a tribute to Tom Brady, man. So all of you Brady lovers, enjoy. All of you Brady haters, enjoy. And throw your shade. But the GOAT has officially retired. Tom freaking Brady has retired. And 7 Super Bowl rings.
Elvis has left the building.
Yes, thank you, Jesus. And who showed him the exits? Them Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly, your Cowboys.
Let's
yes,
go.
Sir.
Last. Now everybody go to breakfast.
Juicy fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a hot buttery biscuit for only $5. That's genius! Part of the KFC Genius menu, the KFC $5 snack box delivers on flavor and value. Need to feed more than one? KFC's Great Picks has got you covered. Packed with 4 thighs and 4 legs, fried to golden perfection, plus 4 buttery biscuits for only $20. More genius! Hungry for deals? The Genius menu at KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Want to be the MVP of the party? Win cash? Just take your favorite Frito-Lay chips, Cheetos, or Tostitos and salsa to the party, and you will be the MVP and have a chance to win cash. All you have to do is purchase any large Frito-Lay chips, Tostitos, salsa, or Cheetos from participating grocery stores. Put your info on your receipt, drop it in the box, and you're in with a chance to win. Check your grocery store for details. Final drawing is February 11th. Frito-Lay chips, distributed by Island Wholesale.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Last. Now everybody go to breakfast.
You know, you wake up and there's nothing to talk about other than that Super Bowl. And they're like, hold on a second, wait a minute. I'm being told the greatest of all time to ever lace him up and put on pads in the history of the National Football League has decided to retire. And here's what it was. Right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Go ahead and hit it, Mikey.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. Like, you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Well done, Tom Brady. Well done. Gets emotional in the middle of turning that camera on himself, sitting in the dunes of either Miami, Fort Lauderdale, up that, it looks like up that A1A or whatever. Who knows?
Might be Clyde, though.
Right there in, it looks like Florida. And so he decides to retire. And I'm glad he got it out. I'm glad he got it out the way that he wanted. I'm glad that some 80-year-old retiree with some metal detector didn't walk in there and interrupt him, looking for
Something buried underneath the sand?
My
Might have been odd. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. You're emotionally retiring to your phone. My bad. Look, he's right. It all went down last year, and we said it all last year. But it's worth saying again. No one will ever do what he's done. And when all-time greats in sports retire, you can say that. And deep down, you're like, well, that record might be touched. That record might be touched. That. This one won't. This career will stand the test of time as the greatest of all time. Period. End of story. Tom Brady has, this is it, this is all you got to say, 7 Super Bowl championships, 7 rings. In the same way, Bill Russell, may he rest in peace, we talk about his 11.
Yep.
And that's the first thing that's mentioned when you talk about Bill Russell, 11 championships. Brady, this is not going to be touched by any quarterback ever. I can say this with my full heart and soul. Perfect example is a 27-year-old in Patrick Mahomes getting set to start next week. He's got 1. He's got to win this one and 5 more over the next 15 years. He's got to win half of them, which is what Brady showed you can do it. Sure you can. Sure you can. But you got to play for a long time, and you got to keep it up. Your pace of play, your level of play, your want to, your desire. You got to keep it going. And that's another thing that Brady had. The type of desire and flame that you saw in others and you see in others still today. Serena, Tiger, Michael Jordan. That's the type of guy you have to be. And Mahomes is probably the closest to it right now, I think, that we have in the NFL. And Burrow maybe as well. He's young. 7. And then the remarkable part about it as well with Brady is the longevity. The greatness and the longevity and the fact that he did it at the top of his game for so long. You could legitimately make the case his least successful decade of his career was his first decade. You could make the case that if you break this up into age, 20s, 30s, and 40s, his least successful decade was when he was in his 20s. I want to talk about a fine wine. Passing touchdowns alone. As you could see, we have broken it down on our Roku channel page, Roku channel feed for our radio listeners. Keep this up on the screen for a bit here, if you don't mind, Mr. Hoskins. 21,000 passing yards in his 20s, 40,000 in his 30s, 27,000 in his 40s. You take a look at his passing touchdowns, breaking it down by, again, his 20s, 30s, and 40s. And you look at the all-time list, which I have up here. For passing touchdowns, 147 passing touchdowns in his career. That it would rank 99th all-time right now. By the way, tied with Steve Berline, 147 touchdowns. But it's those 3 Super Bowl rings that would separate him, one would say, from Steve Berline, wouldn't it? In those 20s. His 30s. 309 passing touchdowns in his 30s. That is currently ranked 13th all-time in the NFL. One ahead of Russell Wilson, who got a new coach, who happens to be a Super Bowl champion head coach, Sean Payton, who is hiring, we'll talk about on this show, and we would have definitely been leading with if this news didn't pass. And then the most remarkable part of them all, 193 touchdowns in his 40s would currently rank 57th all-time, one behind Ken Stabler, Hall of Famer, one ahead of Bob Greasy, Hall of Famer, and one ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Again, who I think is the only guy currently lacing him up with maybe Burrow, with a chance to even come close to this high rent district, because The only reason why I'm saying maybe is because if you put the stat up one more time, his 40s, these numbers will 1,000,000%. If you think me saying this career will never be touched again, and it will be touched again, and it will be threatened or surpassed, this ain't being touched. As a quarterback in his 40s, he threw for 27,632 yards and his 193 touchdowns, not only way better than his 20s, but as I mentioned, more in his in the career of Bob Greasy, Sammy Baugh, Otto Graham, Namath. More than Joe Namath's entire career. These are people who he's going to share a room with in Canton forevermore. More than Aikman, more than Norm Van Brock. Come on. As a 40-year-old. Never be touched again. And don't come at me with Deflategate today. Don't come at me with that nonsense. Should never have happened. Who the hell cares that the PSI of the football was off? Who the hell cares? That was ridiculous. First class, this guy. All the way. All the way. I cannot recall hearing once in my tenure with the NFL. Once. And basically all of Brady's success, with the exception of his first ascendant year of 2001, occurred when NFL Network was born and on the air in 2003. Again, our first two Super Bowls as NFL Network came into existence. The last back-to-back championships that we've seen in the NFL, Brady's and Belichick's Patriots of 03-04. Never once have I heard a crossword from any member of them was given to them or felt that they were treated that way by Tom Brady. And if he felt that he was short with you, you found out later on from him, I apologize for it. I'm serious. And we in the media love to tear people down sometimes. And the whole Deflategate tore him down, and he didn't forget that. He became a little bit more, in my mind, hard-skinned when it came to dealing with the media and certainly the NFL. First class all the way. And when he gave his mom and dad a kiss in the tunnel in his final game, that we now know is his final game, and we're all one. Remember when I came on the air, I'm like, wow, I don't remember seeing his parents in the tunnel of a football game that he's coming off the field. Maybe that is it. And it turned out to be it. Vaya con Dios, Tom Brady, congratulations once again. And I, again, in my history of the NFL network, I'm covering it. Nobody has made me late for dinner more than Brett Favre's decision to retire and unretire. And if he decides to do it again, you know what? Awesome. I will have a front row seat for whoever he decides to do it again, but he says it is for good. This does feel different to me because he's been through the whole retiring and unretiring and what it means and what it doesn't mean. And, you know, the guy I saw in Munich definitely seemed to be somebody who wasn't he always appeared to be, and that it's now time in his mind to step away and do his next thing, whether it be fulfilling that television contract that he does have in front of him or something else. Whatever it is, I can't wait to see it, and we'll see him in Canton. And forevermore, his name will be synonymous with greatness, all-time greatness, and in terms of the NFL, the best. When I first came on the air for NFL Network, the GOAT was Rice and Jim Brown. That was the argument. Depending on your generation, Jerry Rice or Jim Brown. You asked any player, Mr. Brown or Jerry Rice. That was it. There's a third man in on this conversation, and I didn't certainly think in 2003 it could be this guy or it would be anybody, but it is. And there's a case to be made that Tom Brady is, if we're fortunate enough one day to see a new list show talking about NFL 100. One day, 125 now, whatever, 150. We're fortunate enough to do that. From that NFL 100 list show that I did back in the day, and you want to talk about ranking them, Brady could be number one. And thank you, Tom Brady, for all the stuff you did and that we talked about on NFL Network and all the championships. And I'm not even talking from the point of view that you could, Chris. What a dream come true to root for this guy and win as much as you were able to and have as many duck boat parades you could have, Chris.
Man, it's been awesome.
And we in town.
It was contagious. The run from 2002 when January 2002 all the way through, I guess it would have been February, Mike, all the way through to the Red Sox winning in 2018 here in Los Angeles. I think there was 14 parades for all the teams.
Oh my goodness.
In like 16 years. 6 New England, 4 Red Sox, and the Celtics and maybe 12 then. And the Bruins got in on the act. And it's amazing. No player in any sport had ever brought me so much joy. I guess David Ortiz could come close than watching Tom Brady. And it was one of those things. It was like, oh, well, we're going to be in the season would begin in August. You'd be like, oh, well, we're going to be in the AFC Championship game. It's just who are we going to play? Because
and it's not arrogance. It's not arrogance.
And it really wasn't arrogant. It was like, oh, well, we're going to win 12 or 13 games. And we have this guy.
Unbelievable.
And then, you'd make jokes about, oh, well, we're going undefeated. And then, one year they almost did. And so it's
they did. It's just, you're adding the playoffs on top of it.
But
by the way, too.
It's the greatest. He's the greatest ever. And we're never going to see anything like
exactly.
it. And I can't wait to be there in 5 years at Canton. And I hope we're all there. And it's going to be awesome.
No question.
Yeah.
No doubt. So thank you for the memories, Tom Brady, and anybody else who hates on him. It's because the memories that you thought you could have had created, he was standing in your way. That's a fact. That's a fact. And again, like I said, high class the whole way through. The number of times that he would do stuff behind the scenes for kids who were sick or whatever, and he didn't want any credit for it, I can personally attest. This guy deserves your praise as he goes to his next stop. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.
Young cast, last, the breakfast.